Okay everybody, update here, first time beekeeper. If you remember in our last video, we went down to check the bees after about 30 days, hoping that they would have filled up that first box. And I'm really excited to go down there and check now at 60 days because it wasn't ready before, and I'm hoping it's going to be ready now. Last time we were pretty bummed out, pretty depressed, and just wasn't ready yet. But being a first-time beekeeper, I didn't know. So here we go today at 60 days. If we don't get that second box on pretty soon, we're not going to have enough time to make honey in that box by September. It's all the honey in the first box is for the bees. So we're going to go get our bee suits on and come on down with us. This box sits right on top of that brood box. This is called a super. And if you remember, when we put this box in, these things that are inside the box are called frames. And we put frames in that brood box that were just blank. There was nothing, it was just a frame of wood. And the bees have made comb and put wax in there and made these honeycombs. They make it themselves. The super that we're going to put on top already has the honeycombs made out of plastic. That's what these are. And you can see the honeycombs. So the bees, they don't have to actually make the comb first and then fill it with honey. All they got to do is start putting honey in here. So it kind of speeds things up and makes it easier for them. But the cool thing about these frames is there's a technology with them here that we will take this cap out in September. We'll put a key all the way through here and turn it, and it will open up and collapse these combs, and all the honey that's in it will drain down to the bottom and then out this hole here. And we'll put a jar here and collect it almost like a beer tap.
If it works. Right?
If it works. The whole thing's a big experiment.
Yeah, if it works. It sounds too good to be true.
That's what these combs inside the super. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 6 of them inside of this super.
And this beehive is called what?
It's called a flow. F-L-O-W, a flow hive. From the fact that the honey flows out into these jars. Then I would go get the smoker because these bees are being bees. And they're really active and they're really busy and they're going to get really mad here in a minute. So we're going to smoke them and calm them down a little bit. You need to make sure you smoke the videographer. Down.
Look at them coming out of the top.
These are not bees, these are beetles. I don't like them in here.
Oh, I see them.
Here comes the bees. This gets sticky from the honey and it gets hard to come off sometimes.
Whoa!
If you see here, if you get in here, you can see that, remember we had these hives here that didn't have any comb in them? This thing is completely full of comb. Every single frame has comb on it.
Even the last one?
Yep. You can see comb down in there. I'm not going to pull it out because it's just going to disturb the bees. But they've made this comb here. This is comb they've made themselves versus the comb I'm going to put on top now. Now this is called the brood box. In here's the queen. And she's laying eggs. And we probably started with, I don't know, 10, 15,000 bees when you saw that first video in that box that came in the mail. And we could have 40 to 60,000 now. And this is called a queen excluder.
A what?
A queen excluder. Most of these bees here, all these other bees, can get squeezed through here. See, they're getting mad. They can squeeze through here and get to the second box I'm going to put on top, but the queen is too big to get through this grid. So it will keep the queen down in this bottom box, which is what we want her down there, because that's where all the honey that they have made for her to live. And that's where all her babies are, and that's where she's going to lay eggs in those combs that they've made for her. The queen stays in the brood box. You don't want her to come up into the box where they're just going to be making honey and not making any more babies. By the way, you remember how disappointed we were about a month ago? This is really exciting because we're going to put this super on. Those bees can go down into the brood box and up through that queen excluder grid and get up into here where the queen can't do that. And they're just going to start filling this with honey now. The honey that's in this brood box is for the queen and for the babies, and enough honey to get all this hive through the winter, because when the flowers go away they can't make any more honey. So there's enough honey in that brood box down there to survive. They're going to make honey up here, and we're going to tap that for ourselves. But I want everybody to know that we're more about nature and God's given gifts than we are about honey. And the given gift by God is the bees themselves. And if there happens to be extra honey, then that's a gift from God for us. But the bees are going to get what they need first, and we will never take the honey from the bees. I might not even take all the honey from here. There's 6 frames. I might take 1 or 2 or 3 frames of honey out of this and still leave some up here for the bees for the winter too, just to make sure that they have enough to get through the winter so that we can do this again next year. And if they make it through the winter, then we'll do that. If they don't, then we'll have to start all over again with the bees and the male. So I'm going to definitely leave enough for them. These are all very docile right now with the smoke. This has got a cool little feature. It's got a side viewing window that we can come down here anytime we want and look in there and see if they're making honey.
Oh, cool.
Right now it's all empty, but we'll see honey in there as we come down here and check. We won't have to take it all apart. But this is where I showed you those taps that the honey will flow out of these frames down into jars here. We'll go in there, flow. That's the name of it. Looking good. I'm excited. You asked me last time if I was disappointed, and I had to admit that I was. Ask me if I'm disappointed today.
Are you disappointed?
I am not disappointed. I'm super excited today. I like what I see. That looks better, doesn't
Yeah, I
it?
guess maybe the word flow probably goes in the front.
That should be in the front, shouldn't it?
That would be.
I think that looks good. That is better. I think you're right that way. Julie, tell me about videoing beekeepers.
I think my beekeeper, my own personal beekeeper, is hilarious. Oh dear, hilarious. Let me have a bee kiss in your beekeeper.